Hey out there Akronites, welcome to the 5th season of Around Akron with Blue Green. On this episode, we're going to meet up with a coach, Staci Jordan Shelton. I'm going to catch up with Red Point Digital and talk about the con. I'm going to head over to the Mustard Seed and meet up with Bob Pozarski. Now to kick this show off today, I'm going to meet up with Justin Curry, a violinist who has literally played all around the world. Let's go see what Justin Curry is all about.
The first instrument I did with any sort of seriousness, where I had to do like concerts before, was the trombone. But the thing is, my teacher always told me that you're so terrible, there's no possible way you'll ever have a music career at this. I know, right? And for 11 years, I've toured, multiple countries, multiple continents, and seen the world playing a violin. It's the wrong instrument, I guess, but. I didn't pick up my first violin until I was 14, 15 years old. And that's the age where some people are starting their competition era. The thing is, I started being able to play internationally by 17. So that's a huge amount, 2.5, 3 years of hard practice, I was able to do that. But I think it's because I have somewhat of an affinity for the instrument. My first real reason I even picked up the violin was because of an injury I got during band, actually, when I was playing trombone. I hyperextended my right knee during the band dance, as most bands do, like a yearly dance kind of competition thing. So when we were doing the band dance, I literally slipped on my right knee, landed on it, and my knee ended, my leg went 45 degrees the wrong way. About a year of therapy and a lot of use of a cane, and pretty much for about a year I couldn't do anything. I picked up the violin as just a hobby. And I got really, really, really good at it really, really fast, to the point where I was astounding my peers. I astounded a lot of music teachers, like, how were you able to do that? And it's like, well, I just sat down for like hours of the day. I'm not playing video games or anything. I just want to try something else. So I picked up the violin. I have a natural acquisition to go to the Russian school of violin play, which almost no one out here plays. Completely different bow hold, different setup, and different posturing. But I'm very, very good at it. It's just my body type matches that a lot, and it's much more comfortable for me. A lot of things people also realize I use a very small, like, chin rest, and I don't use a shoulder rest at all, just because I think it kills my neck and my back. It's a terrible thing. So I've never really used it. So I'm very much more, like the Russian school of playing. Think of Heifetz. I like to say this, and I don't try to be too biased, but this is my instrument of choice. But the violin, or anything with a bow, the bowed string instrument is the closest man-made object we have to the human voice, and to be able to convey that emotion of the human voice and the human condition. It's such an expressive thing. You don't see that a lot with other instruments. Of course, you can blat with a horn, you can have some emotion with that, but it's very hard to replicate the same amount of feeling you get. In regards to where you can hear it, I mean, you can hear a violin in pretty much everything nowadays. And this is going to be a shocker for most people, but the people that I feel that's always been most biased towards me are the type of, this is going to sound leftist, more liberal people say, yo, Black Lives Matter, and then ignore them in their own group. Or just say you are the topical example, like you're the token person of color. And in a lot of circles out here, I've been treated like that. And I have a message to people, especially people like me, who are struggling with that why can't I get a break? There's more than just this. I've been more accepted 7,000 miles away than 10 miles away from my own home. And I know this is a hard pill to swallow for most people to see, and I know this is something that not people want to discuss because they want to say, oh, I'm not like that. Look at me, I'm progressive. I'm not one of those type of people. But in the end of the day, I think everyone needs to look in the mirror and say, are you really not that? Are you saying that just because you're not yelling racial epitaphs at people or, flying, a Nazi flag or dressing up in the KKK doesn't mean you have some bias with you. Understand that you have the music in your soul. Find your place. It's a hard place. It's a hard time, especially as a musician, but you can find it. I believe in you. And a lot of people just like me who've walked in my path and my shoes before me believe in you. So do it. Don't care what the rest will. Not many times you're rejected. A lot of times when I have your music, just keep on pushing, because in the end of the day, that's what matters. And as a musician, as an artist, no matter how hard the path may be, no how dark the night may be, there'll always be light in the morning. And you can find your light. But you have to search for it. But don't worry, there will be people out there that will support you. And those are the people you need to befriend, to get close to love. Because they are the ones who are going to help you during your darkest hour.
Next up, I'm going to meet up with Staci Jordan Shelton. She's a professional consultant, a strategist, and a coach, and she's going to give us some advice on these tough times.
People would ask me questions and people would just tell me things. It's like, why are you telling me this? They don't have to know me long. It's just, I guess I make people comfortable enough to spill the beans. So yeah, I would say, even when I was a child, people would ask me things and tell me things and listen. You don't know what you don't know, right? And there's always somebody that's at just this extra level that gets whatever the strategy or the exercises or the things that you need to do to take you to that next level. I just saw a stat that were Serena had a coach, right? Oprah had a coach, right? There's so many people doing it now, and there's a lot of people just regurgitating stuff that they read in books. So a lot of people don't trust it. I'm a fan of getting a coach. It's like, if I don't know what I'm doing or I'm struggling and I'm not getting there, it's like, let me get some help, right? So to me, a coach is somebody who can take a little bit wider view of what's going on, really get in there, watch you, because that's really what the performance consulting work is too. It's like watching, let's take a look at your systems. Let's take a look at how you're showing up. Let's take a look at your process and go, oh, okay, tweak this, fix that. Let's move this over here, right? So a coach is so important. For me, it shortens the time frame to being successful, right? You're not struggling on your own. You're not trying to figure it out on your own. You're not repeating into bad habits, right? So if you're an athlete and your form is off, a coach can help you refine your form. So it keeps you from continuing mistakes that can hinder your progress or keep you from getting there. So of course I love coaching and having a coach. It's overwhelming, right? So much is happening so fast, and so much seems to be falling apart all at the same time. But when I start to look at the different things that are happening, they're not new, right? But we're in a different age where there's no barrier between us and information, right? So we were sort of insulated and could pretend that a lot of stuff wasn't going on. Now we can't escape the fact that it's going on because we have social media 24 hours a day. We have news outlets 24 hours a day. And so my biggest advice, and some people are like, this is awful advice. I'm like, dude, you have to disconnect. You have to. Stop watching CNN all day. You're going to go down a rabbit hole, and and I don't know about you, I stopped watching the news on the regular basis a long time ago. because it is nothing but everything's awful, gloom and doom, right? So like, I don't feel like we can reasonably ingest all of that on a regular basis and be okay, right? And so you have to take a step back. What I tell my folks in my groups is like, you have to make, and this sounds really pithy, but you have to make joy a priority. You have to like literally disconnect, put some boundaries around. How often are you gonna watch this news? How are you gonna, how often do you need to engage with this content? How are you starting your day, right? Like my first thing before I do anything is like grounding myself in something that feels good, whether that's music, writing, reading something that's a little bit more inspiring. Like I do not cut on the news the first thing, like I just don't. And then I can, and you gotta tune into your body too, right? So like if I start reading, you can start to feel yourself getting overwhelmed, getting angry, like take a step back, breathe, give it a break, and then get involved in something that's helping folks. Because I think the biggest problem right now is that people feel powerless. There's so much going on, and that is like, to me, like if there was a they, I'm like, that's the goal, right? They want us to feel powerless, whoever they is, right? People shut down when they feel powerless and they just give up and they quit, right? Get involved in something where you're helping somebody, right? Do some stuff that feels good. Disconnect from this news cycle for a few days if you need to, right? It's not about like, oh, I'm only gonna watch the news an hour a day. Like, if you need a break, take a break, right? And we need breaks. That's not even, that's not optional, right? We treat rest like it's optional. We take disconnecting from like really taking in awful things. Like, we have a pretty traumatic news cycle. Like, we're literally being fed trauma every day. Like, and that is not healthy. It's just not healthy. And I think we're just so used to it, but it's still not good for us. So I always tell people, just try to disconnect, go do something, get outside, go take a walk, go do something. Get involved in something that lets you know that there is more to life than what's happening on that TV, right? Connect with stuff you love, go to a museum, do something, right? So that's my advice, to kind of hang in there. Because if you don't, it's like you got to take a breather, right? You have to take a breather.
Next, Eric Vaughan from Red Point Digital to talk all about their 5-part mini docuseries, The Con. Let's go see what this is all about.
Red Point Digital, the whole concept of Red Point Digital, it's a rock climbing term, right? And the concept behind it, which is something that I fell in love with when I was reading about it, is this notion that you practice climbing a line several times and you prepare for it to the nth degree, and then eventually you're able to remove all of the protective equipment because you know every single move that you're going to make in order to get to, that point. The idea in the rock climbing world is that you start from wherever your start is and you get to wherever you're getting to with just fluid motions, boom, 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 boom. Then you get to your destination. And I thought that was a fantastic metaphor for film production. So Patrick Lovell and I, the person that we follow on screen in the con, we were working on a show called Home Team, which was a syndicated home makeover show. It was about giving first-time homeowners their first home. So the way it would work is that a bunch of people would go into a certain area, they put a call out, and we get all these people who would just like put in an application. They had to be a first-time homeowner, and they had to tell us their story, and they had to tell us some contacts, friends and family that we could contact if we chose them. And the heartbreak came when, in 2007, the show was doing better than it ever had. We were getting the best ratings that we've ever had. The owner of the company that was producing it brought us all in and just said, it's over. And we were just shocked, completely shocked, because It was spring 2007. This was just before all of the madness and mayhem was about to happen. And the underwriter for the show was a subprime lender out of Seattle. They were tanking. And so they immediately pulled out all their money. The show was completely dead. And we later found out exactly who they were. And yeah, they were a subprime lender. They were a subprime lender, and we were getting all the people who we were giving houses to, we weren't giving them the house. We were giving them a mortgage, right? We would give them like the first year paid for that mortgage, but then you have the other 29 years. And from contacting some of the people that were featured in our show, we found out that those weren't the best loans. They were using this as a sales funnel, as a way to increase their sales funnel to bring more people into their subprime product, into their company and sell them subprime loans. Two things became, obvious to us. That one, we were amongst the first wave of people who lost their jobs from the great financial crisis, and we were part of the problem. And that sucked. That was a horrible realization.
This dramatic increase in mortgage fraud cases was the canary in the mine. It was the warning.
These entities make loans, package them up.
So the biggest reason why we decided to jump in with both feet and do the con was because it was a story that everybody involved knew had to be told, and it wasn't being told anywhere else. Even though there are so many stories about the financial crisis, so many stories about why it happened, and so many great documentaries, perfectly honest. But what was very clear to me, and I was able to convey this to my producing partners, was that the story had never to that point been told from the perspective of the people who got run over. It was always top down, right? We need to tell it from our perspective. And so I went and I started to look in the Akron area, and instantly the first thing that pops up is Addie Polk. And I started reading her story, and it was terrifying and heartbreaking, and it did such an amazing job of condensing the stories of so many people who were caught up in this into one story, because her story just unfortunately ticks so many boxes. She was elderly, she was a widow, she is from a minority community, not wealthy, and then of course the tragic, the tragic incidents that happened in that October of 2008.
They were mortgage-backed security salesmen, and the way their bonus was set was how much revenue that they generated based on selling this crap.
This is the largest conspiracy of lies in the history of the world.
It's just the question that episode 1 leaves, that the rest of the episodes then go on to answer, is if a small group of people, who none of which were experts in these fields, were able to, 1, identify that there's crime going on, 2, investigate it, 3, get indictments and prosecute it, and then ultimately to get convictions, why couldn't this happen, on a larger scale nationwide, when it was fundamentally the exact same types of crimes that were going on a nationwide scale that ended up taking down not just our economy, but the worldwide economy? And that became the con.
Now, to wrap this show up today, I'm going to head over to the Mustard Seed and see the amazing stained glass art. Actually, it's not really just stained glass, it's actually glass artwork of Bob Pozarski. Let's go see what this guy's all about.
My first memories were about color. As a little kid, the other kids were arguing about baseball in the street. I was checking out, seeing who had the biggest box of crayons. My earliest memories are of color, looking up at a blue sky, seeing little sparks, little pinwheels of light in the sky sometimes. Picking up a piece of glass, looking at the reflection in the light. I think because I enjoy it, I look for more color, so I see more color than other people. I also see more rainbows and sunsets because I seek them out. It's something I enjoy. I think if you enjoy color, you see more. It's the homemade pieces of glass that's what my work is about now. So when I started making stained glass, I did it like most other people. You buy sheets of glass for every color you need, cut it up and put it together like puzzles to create your colored designs. I did that for maybe 30 years before I started making my own glass. I wanted glass in my windows that other people didn't have, wanted to make my work different. A lot of American styles of glass, birds and flowers, Tiffany landscapes were being duplicated in China and sold for 1/10 of our cost. So I wanted to do something different. I started fusing glass, making my own glass in a kiln. I've always liked optical effects, so I started making prisms and lenses. And then some woman talked me into glass blowing classes, and I took that up 20 years ago. And now I can make all kinds of things. I can make new colors and put those in my windows. Well, it's something I enjoyed as a kid. Had little lenses, catch a beam of light in it, make a spectra or a rainbow project on the wall. When I first started stained glass, I took window glass and leaded it together into a water prism, fill it with water, and then you can have the biggest prism on the block. Well, I like the way light bends when it goes through clear glass and turns into a rainbow. And then when I started doing stained glass, I'd make beveled glass windows. And first I'd buy the bevels, put them together, and make a window that would catch the light and refract it. Now I can make my own glass. I make it really thick, so I can make thick prisms. I grind and polish them on a diamond wheel. For example, the windows in the east, I made some of them specially for this show to catch the morning sunlight. When the sun is at the steep morning angle, it goes through a lot of atmosphere, picks up light, and then the prisms can split it into rainbows. I like art that you can look at. You come closer, look at it closer, you back up, move from side to side, and things change a little bit. Different days, different seasons of the year, the windows look different. A friend just sent me a picture of a window she hung in her home in Salt Lake City. And on that day, the sun was at just the right angle to come through a prism and splatter a big rainbow across her refrigerator. And so she sent me a picture of that. Told her that, mark that day on your calendar, look at that refrigerator next year, same time of day, and that rainbow will be in the same place. It's like, Stonehenge or something. The sun comes, well, the windows change with the seasons. You're amazed the first time a winter blizzard comes by and lights up your window. All of a sudden, there's all the pure colors because you've been seeing fall colors through the window, all the greens from summer. My stained glass windows are real windows. You can see through them because I use a lot of transparent glass. Some stained glass is very dense. They block the light and just light themselves up. I want it to be a window where it changes when a car goes down the street. You can see the telephone wires. They go through a prism and make little rainbows. You can see all the lenses and prism bend the lines that are outside in the world. I won a prize on a piece downtown, and the local critic said, it just looks like a catalog because you have everything is different, all these different pieces, so it doesn't make sense to me. And I always thought that was a great thing about my work because it has fused glass in it, it has blown glass, it has stripes and plaids and polka dots, it has lenses and prism, different shapes that do different things optically. And I wanted to give people a lot of variety. Like, you'll look at it another day, another month, and see something new. You look at it at night and notice some glass that only reflects at night.
Thank you for watching the Season 5 premiere of Around Akron with Blue Green. Now, if you have any questions, comments, you just want to drop me an email, you can reach me at www.aroundakronwithbluegreen.com, or you can catch me on Facebook or on Instagram. Thank you, and have an amazing day. Hey out there, Akronites, welcome once again to the 5th season of Around Akron with Blue Green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5th! I plead the 5th! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th! The 5th season! Hey out there, Akronites, welcome to the 5th season of Around Akron with Blue Green. On this episode, we're gonna meet up with a professional my eyes are closed. Next, I'm gonna meet up with Staci Jordan Shelton. She's a professional consultant, a strategist. She's a strategery person.